Imagine a time when laws and customs systematically divided people based on race, impacting every aspect of daily life, even before a landmark Supreme Court case seemed to make it official. Yes, racial segregation was indeed legal and widely practiced in many parts of the United States long before the Supreme Court's decision in Plessy versus Ferguson in 1896. The Plessy ruling codified and expanded existing practices, rather than inventing segregation anew. Following the Civil War and the collapse of Reconstruction, many states, particularly in the South, enacted discriminatory laws often referred to as black codes. These codes restricted the rights and freedoms of African Americans, forcing them into labor contracts and limiting their ability to own property or move freely. Even without explicit state laws, racial separation was enforced through local ordinances and deeply ingrained social customs and norms, often referred to as de facto segregation. This meant that while some segregation was explicitly written into law, much of it was maintained through social pressure, violence, and local enforcement. African Americans experienced these forms of segregation daily, facing separate facilities for schools, transportation, hospitals, and public accommodations, often inferior to those designated for white citizens. These divisions were upheld through a combination of state statutes, local ordinances, and the threat of violence, ensuring that the promise of equality after the Civil War remained largely unfulfilled for generations. Early legal challenges to segregation were largely unsuccessful, indicating a prevailing legal and social acceptance of racial separation. Key legal precedents that predated Plessy include cases like Roberts v. City of Boston in 1849, which affirmed the legality of separate schools based on race, setting an early stage for separate but equal doctrines. The concept of de facto segregation, or segregation by custom, was a powerful force that intertwined with the de jure, or by law, segregation. This combination created a pervasive system of racial hierarchy and separation across the nation, not solely confined to the South. Ultimately, the Plessy versus Ferguson decision did not introduce segregation to America but, rather stamped a federal legal endorsement onto a system already deeply entrenched. It affirmed the constitutionality of racial segregation under the separate but equal doctrine, providing a national legal framework that emboldened states and local governments to expand and enforce Jim Crow laws for the next 6 decades. Understanding this pre-Plessy landscape is crucial to grasping the full historical weight and impact of that infamous ruling.